welcome to Les Center Church today. We're glad that you're here and tuning in to some of the things we have to say. One of the things we wanted to mention is this whole process is new to us, of putting church online and videotaping and these kind of things. So we are learning as we go. So we hope you give us some grace, and we hope every week that we get a little bit better at this whole process. One of the things we want to do, though, is review a little bit from last Sunday of what we were talking about in the Sunday morning sermon, which you can find online on our website. And one of the big themes of it was the importance of being authentic as believers and not portraying ourselves as something that we are not, trying to be too super spiritual or being self-righteous, but realize that we all struggle with sin, and we can give grace to one another, and we can be authentic. And one of the things that Solomon talked about in relationship to that is we go through times of adversity and we have times of prosperity, and both those things come from God's hand. And so we need to recognize that even though right now, Daniel, we're in a time of adversity, we have enjoyed times of prosperity, and we have to acknowledge that God is involved in all those things in our lives.
Absolutely. And one of the questions that actually came in that's pertaining to last week's service and so much that's going on in our life right now is this virus a sign of the end times? And that is an excellent question, and partly, kind of. I think that's the best way of saying it, because the Bible actually says that we are in the end times, and we've been in the end times since Christ came. Now, that doesn't mean that Jesus is going to come back immediately right now. No, what this kind of represents is what are called birth pains. And birth pains have been happening pretty much since Christ initially ascended to heaven. They're just like little pains, just like my wife is pregnant. She has little birth pains, but it doesn't necessarily mean the child is going to come today. In fact, there's several months still that we're waiting, and hopefully that baby's going to cook well for the next couple months. So basically, my thought on this is just relax. Don't worry necessarily. Just continue to do what you're called to do, which is to serve Christ and help those around you.
Sounds good. So what's happening this weekend? We have some things going up as a church coming
up. Oh, yes,
up.
indeed.
So tell me about that.
This weekend, there's actually a lot of incredible things happening. This is not an ordinary week. This is part of Holy Week. We're getting ready for Good Friday, and this Good Friday, we're doing an amazing service. Vaughn's going through one of Christ's sayings, one of his last 7 sayings on the cross, and I will let Vaughn introduce that this Friday. Now that's going to be at 6:30, but you can tune in a couple minutes early, about 15 minutes early. There's going to be a little bit of music, and you'll be able to enjoy some of the things that Les Center Church is putting on. But with that said, we're also going to be doing communion, and I think that that's actually a really special thing that we're doing this live stream, so everybody, wherever you're at, can all participate in communion. And so as right here I have the bread, which represents Christ's body, we're going to take that as a church community. And
so what we want you to do is we want you to be ready for that on Friday. So get some bread, get a cup of juice or wine, and have it ready to go, so when we take it, we can take it together and celebrate the Lord's death until He comes. And it's going to be kind of a little different. Do it as a family. Pass it around to your kids if you have kids at home. Talk about what this means. Pray together. We'll pray, as a leadership team in this whole process. And let's just celebrate the Lord's Supper together in our very different locations.
Yep.
So another thing that's coming up, of course, is our Easter service on Sunday. And that's going to begin at 10:15. Again, tune in early. We will start some kind of an early broadcast stuff about 10 o'clock. There'll be some music, there'll be some words of encouragement, there'll be some announcements, things like that going on from about 10 to 10:15. So join us in, and at the same time, we encourage you to develop a watch party. So what that means is let your friends and your oikos, your people that you're connected with, know about our service and invite them to watch it with you wherever they are located. And so we encourage you to do that. Our theme is bow and confess. We want to bow before the Lord and confess that He is Lord, because He is.
And the next thing that I think that we really need to address is what our governor has stated in the state of Washington, which is that schools are going to be closed for the rest of the school year. And that is applicable for most of you guys that have kids, but that's also applicable for me, because what that means is I'm no longer a preschool teacher this year, and because I'm going full-time at the church, I will not be doing preschool next year, which is pretty sad because I've had a lot of fun with these kids in my classroom. They've all been just so much fun, such a blessing, lots of smart kids, lots of smiles, but it's done now. But that doesn't mean preschool is necessarily done for your kids. What we're doing as teachers is we are going to create an online curriculum. And I know that these kids are, some of them may be driving you crazy a little here and there. This is a way to keep them learning, keep them engaged, and keep them prepping for them when they go to kindergarten. So we're going to be working on that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And just so you know that is coming down the pipe, so just be prepared for that.
And I understand also that you're going to be sending out packets of information and packets of little worksheets and things like that that will correspond with the online little video curriculum that we're developing, which is
Absolutely.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so the kids will be able to do that. Now, as a church, we would ask you to pray that we would be able to regather soon. You know, we miss being together. We miss you. You miss us. I know this is kind of awkward being, communicating by video. And we need to pray that this virus thing can be kind of settled and we can get through it and we can get over the fear of being together and we can enjoy our body of Christ gathered together to celebrate and worship. And so I would invite you to make that a part of your prayers each week until this thing is resolved.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us this morning at La Center Church today.
Thank you.